You were not meant to be a slave to the grind. You were not meant to trade your life force for money. You can escape gravity. You can unlock your life. You got this. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Unlock Your Life. This is your host, Jennings Smith. Are you too cheap for your own good? I know I have been guilty of this, and I think a lot of people in real estate are cheap. You know, they're bootstrapping their way through their rental properties. They're fixing stuff themselves. They're frugal. And although these are great qualities, it can sometimes hold you back. I know it did to me. So let me tell you a little story that happened to me just this past weekend. A buddy of mine wanted to go to the Major League Pickleball tournament in Atlanta, Georgia. This was held last Saturday, and I looked at the tickets. I was interested. I was going to be down there for a real estate meetup. We just had our deal room real estate meetup in Atlanta last Friday. So I was going to be down there anyways. I was going to bring my boys. And I thought, man, this would be pretty fun. Just stay an extra day, go to this big tournament, Major League Pickleball. I've gotten into pickleball a little bit in the last 6 months. Really enjoy it. So I'm looking at these tickets, and the tickets are $40. And I want to buy me, my kids. I want to buy my friend Tommy a ticket and his son because he's done me some solids. He gave my kid a pickleball paddle and some gear. So I want to treat him to the tickets. And I'm thinking, okay, 40 times 5 tickets, that's $200. That's really not bad. But then I see that there are the Michelob Ultra Lounge VIP seating. You've got shade. You've got unlimited food, you've got drinks, soft drinks, waters. They give you a couple of drink tickets so you can get a couple beers if you want. You've got your own private bathrooms and your courtside right there. It's obviously not going to be as crowded as general admission because these are premium seats. But guys, they're $175 a piece, which in hindsight really was still a pretty good deal. But 175 times 5 is, I think, $875. So $200 versus $875, quite a big jump, over 4x the cost. But I'm thinking, I'm making a big effort to go to Atlanta in the beginning. I'm already going to be there. I'm taking my boys. Why don't I just spring for the good seats? Because I want it to be an enjoyable experience for my friends, for my sons. So even though I really wanted to be cheap and just buy the $40 tickets, I pulled the trigger anyways, got them. Well, I show up to the place and I'm about an hour late. It's already started. And I see these general admission seating and they're actually pretty good. They're, courtside on the other side and they're really not bad, but the sun is beating down. They don't have any shade. So I walk over to the VIP lounge and it was pretty amazing. The setup was super nice. On top of that, the players who are playing in the tournament, and these are the top 25 players in the world. Now, pickleball is a new and emerging sport. It doesn't have the clout of NBA or NFL or anything. But still, I'm getting to hang out with these athletes in between their matches. They're literally in the VIP section, hanging out, chatting up fans. My sons found some pickleballs under the bleachers. They're running around, getting signatures from these players, getting autographs. And so I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. My kids couldn't believe that the Cokes and the Sprites were free. We're having a great time. We're right there, literally 10 yards from the players. And we strike up a conversation with the table next to us. And we find out this guy is an owner of one of the teams. He owns the Dallas Ranchers. So he talked about, how did you get into this? Well, I was in crypto and NFTs back in 2016. And if you know anything about crypto, people that have been into crypto since 2016 usually are doing all right. And so he's now launched a company, NFT Pay, where people can buy NFTs directly with their credit card. And he's solved the problem of the credit card processing. And so, I don't know how well off this guy was, but he's obviously well enough to buy a Major League Pickleball franchise team. So this is just like, the Chicago Bulls or Atlanta Braves or whatever in their infancy. He's purchased a team. They have a draft, they got to pay their players. They win in tournaments. And he was saying that he bought this team about 8-9 months ago, and the valuation of the team has already tripled. So he's made a pretty good investment in this deal. So, this is pretty interesting. And then he comments, hey, there's some courts over there. They're player practice courts. Would you guys want to go play a game? I say, well, yeah, I would, but I didn't bring my paddle with me. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll figure that out. Don't worry about it. So A few hours later in the afternoon, he hits us up. He says, "Hey, guys, let's go play a match." So Tommy and myself and our boys go over to these practice courts. The boys strike up a game with a couple other kids that are playing, and we end up playing with him and another owner of a team. And so we still don't have a paddle though. And so there's a gentleman there. He's got an extra paddle. He loans it to me. We play a couple games. We play well. It's competitive. It's fun. We win some games. We lose some games. At the end, the guy who loaned me the paddle, and now this isn't just any paddle. This is like the top of the line paddle. It had just come out. If you're a pickleball player, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Generation 3 Eula Ben Johns paddle. And I said, "Hey, here's your paddle back." And he said, "Hey, man, just keep it. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Seriously?" He said, "Yeah, just keep it. I'm a tester for Eula, and they send me paddles all the time. I literally have 100 paddles. Let me give you that one. Let me go get one for your buddy, and I'm going to get one for the Texas Ranchers owner as well." So I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And so we go back to the court. We've watched the final couple games, head on out. And I think back, man, how different would this experience have been had I been cheap? Had I been like, $40 seats is good enough. Let me just go for that. Well, we wouldn't have been right there at the game. We wouldn't have had the shade. My kids probably would have not had as good a time. They wouldn't have been able to crawl into the bleachers and collect like 40 pickleballs. They probably wouldn't have gotten signatures from the players. We definitely wouldn't have made connections with these two team owners who we exchanged cell phone numbers with, who we got to play a match with. It was just a awesome red letter day because I had put myself in the right room. I had put myself in the right arena to make something like that happen. Because when you think about stuff that costs money, and we can take this anywhere, right? You can talk about country clubs. You can talk about flying first class. You can talk about you're getting the box seats when you go to the sports arena versus, the cheapest ticket you can find. When you go to those places, who are you going to meet there? Who else is going to be there? And more often than not, the people that are doing that want the best experience are a lot of times they're doing pretty well in business. They're doing pretty well in life. They've got interesting stories. They've got stuff going on. And if you're a connector like I am, right, I'm always looking to connect people to real estate. If they want to invest in real estate, I'm looking to connect people into the deal room. If they're looking to purchase multifamily, and those connections, I need to be with people that are of a certain caliber where they've got stuff going on. They've got capital to invest. They've got a successful business. They've already got some rental properties and they want to get into multifamily. Maybe they already have multifamily and they want to sell a property that I might be interested in or buy a property from me. Who knows where these conversations are going to lead? But if I'm not in the right room, those conversations are not going to evolve. Back when I was first starting in real estate, I went to a conference, and this conference cost about $7,000 to go to. By the time I bought the tickets and flew up there and hotel and everything. And at the end of this was my first foray into real estate conferences. And at the end of the conference, they pitched us on $25,000 a year mastermind. And I distinctly remember, this was back at the end of 2018, beginning of 19. I distinctly remember what kind of moron would pay $25,000 to just be in a room, to just be friends with these people, to just like be part of a social club. Like, I'm not paying for friends. This was literally the words that went through my mind. And I, sat through the presentation, chuckled to myself in my self-assured way, sauntered out, and didn't spend a dime. Now, this was because I had already stretched, right? I'd already stretched by paying $7,000 to even come to this conference. And at that conference, I met a loan sponsor who literally changed my life, helped me close 5 of my first deals, helped me raise capital, signed on the loan, got everything done with me, and changed the trajectory of where I was going. But I wasn't quite ready to make that leap. Well, about a year later, I was approached about a different mastermind, and this mastermind was $35,000 a year. But at that point, I was ready. Now, I had saved up some money. I don't know that I had much more than $35,000 in my bank account at the time, and I saw the value. I saw where this guy was going. I saw the network he was building. I saw the other 35 people that were in this group were all multimillionaires in real estate, in business, going the directions that I wanted to go. And so I plunked down the money and joined the group. And I was in that group for 3 years, and it was $35K a year. And every year I legitimately made 10x my investment in that group through direct connections and dealings with the people there. They invested with me, I invested with them, they connected me to other people, deal flow came through that, new ideas, new ventures, all sorts of great things came out of that group. And I recognized, wow, being in the room really, really does matter, and not being cheap, and taking that mindset and shifting it from, I don't need just the crappiest thing that's going to get me by, but I'm going to invest this money, even if it maybe seems a little foolish or you don't need it at the time, because I know that that's going to get me into conversations and relationships where I can make connections and change my future, change the trajectory of where I'm going. So if this is you and you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I'm the one that's wearing the holy jeans and I'm wearing the busted tennis shoes and it's good enough for me, and you're proud of how cheap you are, I want you to kind of look at that model and that mindset. And guys, I'm right there with you. And if my wife could be on this podcast, she would definitely tell you that I'm a cheap guy. But is it serving you? Are you meeting the people that you want to? Are you having the conversations that you want to have? I sat on a flight the other day, first class, and the lady that I had a conversation with was extremely interesting. And she actually had a multifamily portfolio, was very interested in multifamily. We made a connection there. That doesn't happen in the back of economy. It just doesn't. I've flown economy many, many times. I still fly economy. I'm not telling you I buy a first class ticket every time. I want to, but baby steps, guys. I'm still growing myself. But when there are opportunities to level up, right, where it's like, hey, I want to get involved in this car club. I want to meet the people who own, the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 cars. I want to get into the country club world. I want to meet the people. What kind of businesses are they doing? Where are they hanging out? Where are my avatars, the people that can help me, that I can help them, that can invest with me, I can grow with them? Where are these relationships? Where are they congregating? Because it's probably not in the $40 pickleball seats. They're probably in the VIP Ultra Lounge. So guys, I know this is a little silly anecdote, but it really struck me that I was this close to cheaping out, and I could have missed a phenomenal time with my kids, a day very well spent, new relationships formed, new connections made, and who knows where they'll go. We'll just have to see. But for this week, take some time, look at where am I being cheap? What's one area that I could get in the room and level up? Am I always looking for free? Am I always looking for what's the cheapest ticket? What kind of people are going to be in those rooms? I mean, we know you can go on a Carnival cruise line, which is the cheapest cruise line, and nothing against Carnival, but I'm saying I went on Carnival when I was 21 years old, and all I had was $500 for a cruise ticket. But as I went there, it was a bunch of young people. It was a bunch of really drunks. I mean, it was just a huge drunk fest versus going on a Disney cruise or Royal Caribbean or whatever. Totally different experience, totally different class of people. I'm training my mind to say, not only do I want to meet new people and be in those relationships, but I deserve this, right? I want to level up my life. I want to raise my standards. I'm not going to accept that I'm going to live in the cheap seats and I'm just going to scrape by. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a minute to unlock your life. Peace.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.